to build, strengthen, and inspire, as well as motivate men, women, and youth from the home to the conference room and around our community. I'm Sigourney.
Ron.
That's Maran, and this is Deplorable Rhetoric. Thanks for tuning in. If you, sorry, we invite you to be part of the show by calling in 443-272-5922. You can also go to she'sthebossradio.com and watch us there, or you can listen on tunein.com or Shoutcast. You can also get notifications through Facebook and Instagram and all that. We're on She's the Boss Radio on Facebook, She's the Boss Radio on Twitter, WSTBRN on IG, and WSTBR on Twitch and Tumblr. Okay, so first things first, of course, we'll talk about any COVID news. So this one is from CBS from a few days ago. It says Moderna CEO says new COVID-19 variant shot will be ready by August. Let's see what that's supposed to mean. So Moderna expects a new COVID-19 vaccine. The drug maker is developing that it says offers protection against the Omicron variant of the virus to be ready for public distribution by August. The company has been manufacturing shots of the vaccine called mRNA 1273.214 ahead of it getting regulatory approval in order to be ready for the fall and winter when health experts say COVID-19 could flare. But of course, it's going to flare summer. It's going to flare fall. Every time the new season comes in. Clinical trial data shows that the Moderna so-called bivalent booster vaccine candidate is highly effective against the BA4 and BA5 Omicron subvariants of the virus, which Moderna CEO Stefan Bancel said in a statement represent an emergent threat to global public health. So, yay for that, I guess.
It's been 2.5 years. Come on now, every season it spikes, it drops. It's
so I mean, I guess it makes sense to try to have a specific subvariant vaccine, but that's also a lot because these different variants keep popping up. So it's hard to keep that going. But there you go. At least the scientists will be busy. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm not gonna go through this one. I was just gonna say this one was a study about assessing neurological symptoms present in long COVID patients. I mean, I'll say at the follow-up visit of after 6 months of baseline, impaired memory and loss of concentration were the most persistent symptoms reported in 69% and 61.5% of cases, respectively. Although lower severity scores were reported for all the symptoms. It says a total of 56 individuals were included in the analysis, of which the majority, 69%, were women, and the average age was 50 years, and 29% had a history of neurological disorders like multiple sclerosis. Out of 56 patients enrolled, 27 completed the follow-up assessment. Well, only half, less than half. Well, no, about half. COVID-19 severity was mild and moderate in 39.3% and 42.9% of cases, respectively. So, insomnia, memory impairment, loss of concentration reported in 66%, 64.3%, and 62.5% of the participants. The majority of the individuals, 80%, reported that their PASC symptoms affected their quality of life. And whatever. Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, I was just trying to see what the PASC stands for. But anyway. Yeah, so not only having maybe more respiratory things going on because you've had COVID, now there's more neurological stuff going on too. So that's something for people to. I think so. It just depends. You just never know these type of things. You never know what it's going to affect. So it's good to have these kind of studies. Mind you, it's only 56 people that they did this test on, but it still says something. So the Deseret News, long COVID-19, half as likely with the Omicron and Delta. Long COVID-19, I don't know what I just said. Long COVID-19, half as likely with Omicron and Delta study finds. The Omicron variant causes less severe infections but spreads rapidly, which we knew. So I'm not really understanding why they came out with this again, but let's read on. British researchers have found evidence that Omicron variants are less likely to give you long COVID-19. So that's interesting. Um, so the study, peer-reviewed and published in the Lancet Journal, compared the risk of getting long COVID-19 from two different coronavirus strains. Per Medical News Today, they found that those affected with Omicron were 20% to 50% less likely to develop long COVID than those who had the Delta variant. But close to 5% of people who caught Omicron experienced typical long COVID 19 symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, headaches, heart problems, and other medical issues a month post infection. Close to 50,000 volunteers participated in the observatorial analysis by signing up on a phone app called the ZOE COVID study, which launched in March 2020, according to NBC News. So, Akiko Awasaki says that's scary. He or she is immunobiologist at Yale School of Medicine with a specialization in long COVID. People assume that because Omicron is milder, that let's just get infected and get it over with. Lead researcher Claire Steeves, a senior clinical lecturer at King's College London, told NPR that the overall number of people getting long COVID is set to rise. The caveat is that the Omicron variant has spread very rapidly through our populations, and therefore a very large number of people have been affected, Steves explained. So it's certainly not a time for us to reduce services for long COVID. Wow. So there's a nice long list of symptoms of long COVID, according to the CDC. The general symptoms are fatigue, fever, difficulty breathing or shortness of breath, cough, chest pains, heart palpitations, brain fog, headache, sleep problems, lightheadedness, change in smell or taste, depression or anxiety, diarrhea, stomach pain, joint or muscle pain, rash, and changes in menstrual cycle, which all these things are normal whether you have a cold or something else. So, and a friend of mine was just telling me and another friend that her husband, one of her kids, got COVID, and then come to find out now she has it. So there's one kid left who seems to be okay, but yeah, he kept saying, "Oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine." She's like, "No, go get tested," and come to find out it is COVID. So even if you think it's just a cold, it doesn't hurt. Walgreens, Rite Aid, CVS, they all sell. I'm sure Walmart, they all sell the at-home test. Just get your COVID test. I still got my two that I got in the mail from UPS.
Well, actually, the
So
city, I mean, the government, federal government, you can get your second round of
yeah, that
COVID.
came out. I think a while ago. I saw they were going to start doing that.
Yeah,
So
they actually, we got emails saying you
oh
can
yeah, I didn't
order
get
it
that.
from USPS or whatever it was.
I didn't get that second one, but it's fine. 'Cause like I said, I still got my two. So it doesn't hurt to go ahead and get yourself tested because you just never know.
And that,
Excuse me.
the apps that say that whatever city you're in or what state you're in, if you come across somebody that has tested positive for COVID, it would notify you if you're exposed. So far, I've done Maryland, I've done DC. Those don't work. Those apps don't
Okay.
work. So if you ever come across somebody who tested positive, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, and I think part of it too, and we spoke to this a couple times. Well, I've read it, from the articles a couple times, is that people, once they test positive, they're not going to places and telling people, so they can't record
No, no, no,
that.
no. If you test in a health department,
Oh,
like
I
in
see.
DC, you have to go. You can do it at home,
Right.
but if you, most
What?
people will go to whatever and the health
Yeah.
department and get tested. That information, they'll email you your results,
Oh, I
right?
gotcha.
So I'm sitting there with somebody who supposedly tested positive.
Yeah.
I've been around the person for a week and I didn't get a notification. I'm looking at the app and looking at the person that tested positive. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. They told you got yours? Okay, where is it?
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I
And
gotcha.
I'm cool, but it's just the system really doesn't.
Yeah, it's slow for sure.
Yeah, it's been what, a month? I still haven't gotten a
Yeah.
notification.
So you would have had COVID and it would pass by now. You could have had it 2, 3 times by now.
Right. I'd have
Um,
tagged you, I'd have tagged my son.
Yeah.
You know?
Just everybody would have got it.
Yeah.
But before the
You
break,
get one. You
right.
get one.
Before the break, since there's a couple minutes, let's talk about Maryland specifically.
Mm.
So Montgomery County leading the
Hey.
way.
What?
198,545.
It's up.
That's where it's at
Ooh.
from whatever it was before.
Wow.
Prince George's is next because PG they were reigning.
They were suffering.
They were the ones that had the most.
Mm.
And Baltimore City is number 4 at
Oh.
124,985. County is 145, 249. So they're third. And then last we have Kent, of course, 3,325.
Poor
So
Kent. Baby Kent.
so they so yeah, so confirmed cases again we're looking at they're basically a little over 1.1 million in the last 24 hours. Numbers kind of cut off here. Oh, the last 24 hours we're looking at 1461 that has been added. As far as okay, nope, didn't want to do that. As far as confirmed cases
In the state of Maryland.
yeah, that's what
Okay.
I said. We're just talking about Maryland.
And I thought you were doing counties, but in the state of Maryland.
No, yeah, no. If one
That's
county had
everybody.
1.1 million confirmed
Everybody.
cases, I don't think so. Testing volume so far, 21 point, basically 8 million people in Maryland have been tested. Testing positivity rate is 8.4%. That seems high.
It should be
Um,
higher though. Like people
well, yeah.
need to be tested.
Yeah, but I feel like the last time we talked about this number was definitely lower. But at any rate, it is time to go to break, so we will be back with our main story.
You could listen to one of those other stations.
So I don't think I got it. So before we get into the story, actually, I just want to throw this out there. Anybody planning to go to the Dominican Republic or Kuwait, of all places, you may want to not go. So right now they are on the high list for COVID. They just added them to that list, so beware of that. All right, so go ahead. What are we talking
Thank you
about
for
today?
just throwing that in there.
That's my job. So go ahead.
Nobody from the US was going to Kuwait, but okay.
Doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it's news. You never know.
Now you triggered me. Okay.
You'll be all right.
Jeez Louise.
You may
what are
go
we
and
talking
you're
about?
fine.
Okay, we're talking about Hogan and Brandon Scott and this crime plan that a 5-year crime plan that Brandon Scott has put together, which I haven't seen yet. So I couldn't tell you what's what or what is in there and how much money is going to certain programs. But I do know that he is claiming that as of February 1st, Baltimore was 28% above 2021 in homicides and 25% above in non-fatal shooting. As of this morning, which was, what day is this? May 27, 2022, Baltimore City is at 2.4% and 8.3% above, respectively. We're above on shootings, non-fatal, and fatal. Okay. But what I don't get is that he's putting all this money into partnershiping with the warrant apprehension team, the task force WATF. Yeah, WATF. And he wants to clear murder cases that he has available. But my whole issue with that is that with the gun task force, the ramifications of that whole case, them filing, admitting to guilt and things like that, the guns that are out in the streets, how is he even maintaining these numbers? He hasn't been in the office that long to maintain good numbers.
Well,
And he's telling Hogan to come in the city and see how much he's done. He told him, he said, you should come spend time with me in Baltimore City to gain insight and better understanding in today's violent crime fight. It would also be great for him to spend time in the mayor's office of neighborhood and safety engagement to learn about group violence reduction strategies. But these are strategies, nothing else. Okay, yeah. Work. Honestly speaking, in the how many years I've been here, I think I've seen safe streets cars or vans or whatever it is, SUVs, 2 times.
I'll say this in the
Well, you were in the office with them or shared an office
no,
with
not
them.
even that. In the 16 years I've been here, so not as long as you, but I'll say I've seen them more than that, but it's been in more recent years.
Yeah.
I'd give it like 3 or 4 times, so not too much more than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and like you said, I worked for the city in the same office, and I was back in why am I thinking 01? No, it wasn't. It was back
08?
at least 5. No, I had just graduated then. Like 2010, 2011ish maybe, and yeah, even then I wasn't.
And the thing is that, for me, being in the the field that I'm in, I should have run into them or had some kind of interaction with them.
Right.
As I know a lot of people in different aspects of city systems. So it kills me that I've only seen them 2 times in 20 years.
Yeah.
So it gets me. And he's saying that this is Brandon Scott says, if the Governor Hogan is curious, I can give him a tour of our new Emergency Operations Center and demonstrate the coordination with city watch cameras, the collaboration with watch centers at Baltimore City Police Headquarters. It would also benefit the Governor Hogan to join me and visit one of our 4 Baltimore City Intelligence Centers, which are in embattled communities with high violence rates, and they provide real-time data and intelligence. Now, mind you, even if it gave all this information, why was it when I was sitting in my living room, 7:15, 4 shots were heard? Didn't hear any sirens, ambulance, or anything. Right. Then at 9, when 6 more shots were fired, I see the police. They weren't there to do anything. We saw them with flashlights looking for shells, like shell casings. They weren't checking. They weren't talking to anybody, right. Anything like that. Not that anybody would talk to them, because this is who they are. Baltimore City Police Department and Hogan, I'm not Hogan, but Brandon Scott, if I ever got a chance to talk to him, I want him to understand as a citizen of Baltimore City now, and a person that does business in Baltimore City for over 10 years and deals with Baltimore City Police Department. I mean, I'm a parole and probation for the state of Maryland and everywhere else. I want to know, how are you going to address this? Since Marilyn Mosby has been state's attorney in Baltimore City, and she went after the guys that allegedly killed Freddie Gray, Baltimore City has been held hostage by Baltimore City Police Department. Plain and simple. So how are you going to tell me this? They're getting real-time information when there is no action behind that? How many times have I texted you and said, I've heard?
Yeah, and even around my way, it's a little hard to distinguish, but I think around my way in Parkville, I've heard some stuff. And, sometimes Newsbreak, that app on your phone, gets pretty specific, and I'll get stuff from Parkville where there's robberies or there's this, someone got killed,
but you don't hear sirens.
Fire.
Yeah, you don't hear sirens. You don't see police.
I barely see cops in the city, period.
Right, but no, I do see them. Don't get me wrong.
I'm saying Parkville.
Yeah, but I'm saying as far as my neighborhood is concerned, I see cops.
Oh yeah, they're Baltimore. They're gonna be riding around. They just ain't gonna be doing nothing.
Yeah, like the 12 o'clock boys with the dirt bikes and everything. Yeah. The police will be parked watching them do all this and waiting for them to get hit by a car, cause an accident or something in order for them to react. Why are you not?
I mean, they can't chase them.
You can't chase. Yeah, we get it. But hold up, though. Don't get it twisted. They can't chase them, but they do sometimes. Well, before they do. Yeah. They did.
So I think in their mind, they're like, well, if I can't drive, because I mean, of course, they're going to drive away. So that's going to end up looking like a chase. And so probably in their heads, they're like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Which I somewhat get. But at the same time, you know these dudes. Mm-hmm. Like, don't sit here and act like you don't know where they live or where they hang out.
These kids have Instagram.
Well, yeah, and that too.
And social media is the best way to figure things out. And how is it that
some people are not that bright? They'll put everything on.
Exactly. And one of the young ladies that's part of the 12 o'clock boys.
Oh, the one that got caught in that stabbing or whatever.
She killed her girlfriend.
Oh, she did kill her.
She killed her. You know what I'm saying? And it was a hung jury, or she wasn't acquitted, but it was a hung jury. So got her to retrial. But the thing is that she actually has a Instagram page, and she posts everything, them riding. She was part of that movie with Meek Mill.
Oh, yeah.
She was on that. Like, they have solidified their little niche. Yeah. And they're called the 12 o'clock boys. All of them have their ranks, and you would think it was a business, but it's not. Exactly. And I don't like using that word because the connotation to that is violence and things like that. But you are doing something that's causing the community distress.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people do go negative when they hear gang. I don't necessarily do that. So to me, to call them a gang seems very apropos because that's what they are in my mind. But yeah, I mean,
but again, it's like Brandon Mayor Scott has put a lot of money into the cameras, real time this and real time that. Yes, Governor Hogan can come to Baltimore City and see what you put the money that he gave Baltimore City. We could see where the money is going or what's coming out of that. How does that benefit the city? You gave $614 million to Baltimore City Police Department to do all these programs, to, you know what I'm saying, maintain all of this. But at the end of the day, it doesn't translate in mental health, therapy, in job readiness. Nothing. GED programs for these kids, lunch programs like the rec centers, and I keep reiterating this fact. We need some kind of rec centers because a lot of these kids don't eat when school's closed. That's the only time they'll get a chance. Don't eat much. I'm not going to say their parents don't feed them, but some of them don't feed them.
Some don't. Yeah. And so they're, eating at friends' house or wherever, but yeah.
Yeah. That's why chicken boxes are so cheap.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's chicken. But no, yeah, I mean, but that's why McDonald's and stuff like that is so popular. But again, it also, I mean, that can actually go into a much big story.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna keep it
Local.
but yeah. So at any rate, that's why those dollar menus and stuff are so important. But then you're not getting the nutrients your brain needs. You're eating whatever crap they mush together to make a chicken nugget. Those French fries are high in salt. So as you get older, 30s, 40s, 50s, your blood pressure's
Blood
gonna be high
pressure,
as hell.
cholesterol,
So yeah, I mean, it's just
that sugar diabetes. Yeah.
drinking that sweet tea.
Sweet
Put you
tea,
right into a
what is it,
coma.
frozen cups?
Yeah, and if the ice
Hold
cream
up,
does
I want
work,
some.
if the ice cream machine does work,
Yeah. But
all
again, that money, I just don't understand why. City council had a meeting and a lot of prominent people came and spoke against funding the police.
yeah,
And after all that convincing testimony and speeches that these prominent people made, and I felt I agreed with them. They were right about it. Brandon Scott is talking about he's got programs with the violent crimes and drug, putting them in inpatient. My thing is, okay, I get it. That's what you want to do. But a lot of these people need outpatient mental health counseling.
I need you to hold that thought. We're gonna have to go to break. We'll be right back.
You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think? You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think?
Yeah, that's the sound of today's business community. It's a dog-eat-dog world and only the strong survive. The challenge is navigating the ever-changing business environment to put your business in the forefront. So how does your business keep up with the changes? That's where She's the Boss Network comes in. She's the Boss Network is an internet media network that's been helping businesses like yours get the exposure that you're looking for at reasonable cost by way of radio and video. They'll help you stay successful by navigating change and seeing the big picture. After She's the Boss Network analyzes your business and marketing strategies, you'll start to see a media presence like you've never seen in your business before. And She's the Boss Network doesn't stop there. They use their findings to create a practical plan of action, a plan that will get your business from where you are to where you need to be. There you go. Lock those dogs up for good by giving She's the Boss Network a call at 866-494-5945, extension 101, or by checking their website at she'sthebossradio.com. Again, that's 866-494-5945, extension 101, or she'sthebossradio.com.
Beauty's in the eye. We complicate things when all along it's just perfect as it is. Beauty is from within. It's how you feel, not as how others see you. Skincare shouldn't be complicated. She's the Boss believes skincare should be nurturing, easy to use, smell delicious, feel refreshing, and look incredible. She's the Boss Cosmetics and Skincare brings you our botanical-based skincare line that's gentle, uncomplicated, and extremely effective for men, women, and youth. Feel confident and radiate a power glow that flows from the inside out. Exude an assurance that extends from the home into the conference room. Visit us at www.shes-the-boss.com or call us at 866-494-5945 to get yours today.
We don't break the laws. We just make up our own. The internet's best choice for music. She's the boss. Radio Network.
All right, so go ahead, Maran. We're back.
Okay.
Finish that thought.
I know, right? But you'll be proud of me. I still remember my
All right,
thought.
yeah, no, because we are two people who can't remember nothing.
I know. We have two cells rubbed together.
Right.
Or was it one cell?
Trying
But the thing is that we've said this many and many a times before. This funding goes to big facilities, hospitals that have inpatient treatment, things like that. But there are these small outpatient mental health facilities, PRP, psychiatric rehabilitation programs, all these programs that are out there, foster care. People are like Small businesses are trying to stay
Yeah.
above water, and we're trying to help. And the city has held these facilities, these clinics and places like that, programs hostage for about 2 years now. And I'm going to leave the company's name out of it.
There you
But
go.
it's crazy how the funding is going to police, it's going to the hospitals to help these kids. But at the end of the day, if you look at the numbers, these programs that have been out here 10 plus years that have helped and actually can prove the numbers that they have helped. And if you go back to 2017, Hogan, and look at what happened and the numbers you were given,
Yeah.
with the support of parole and probation from every county in the state of Maryland to come and tell you what companies have helped these kids, have helped these adults with substance abuse issues, job readiness, getting their GED, just random things that they need to better themselves, to be law-abiding citizens, for lack of a better word. But, you know, not having to occupy a cell anymore.
Yeah.
Teaching them it's okay to come out here and whatever dreams you had come up with while you were behind bars, let's make that work. Let's see what we can do to promote that idea and see where it'll go. We,
Yeah.
as small business owners out here in these streets, trying to help the people in our communities are out here, but apparently nobody seems to give a damn about the small business owners. They want to continue funding these large companies that have not done anything. Yes,
Not very
their
much.
numbers are going to be higher than the small business owners,
Right.
but that's because their funding is a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've been held hostage for 2 years. If you want to do something, pull all the small business owners in Baltimore City that have been doing the work. Pull us in together. The previous mayor attempted to do that, but unfortunately she wasn't interested either. Previous, yeah, the Freddie Gray mayor. And she attempted to bring us all together, and why I say attempted, we showed up. She did not.
Right.
But we gave our ideas and thoughts into it, and a lack of a better word, an incubator was the idea
Right.
of having these different programs, small business programs together to help benefit. Because if you look at the numbers, collectively, we've done amazing work. Individually, we've done great work. But if you put all these programs together in different parts of the city, we could do so much better than you giving Baltimore City Police Department $614 million in equipment
no reason.
that doesn't work half the time.
Yeah.
Those blue light cameras that you're saying that are out there, that's been there 20 years. The neighborhood is no better. Mondawmin Mall has a whole RV police portable, mobile police department there. But there's gunshots all the time. There's robberies all the time. It'll be cops upon cops sitting there having conversations amongst each other, but there's nothing being done when an incident happens on the spot. As close as the police is to an accident on Ricestown Road, on Liberty, or Park Heights, I have never heard a crash and about 5 minutes later, a police car. No, nobody shows up. So again, I say, you know, the person gonna lay there dying.
And I get those notifications, so it does happen.
And that's the thing,
There's
though.
a lot of hit and runs. People are getting hit and dying, and the person speeds off, you know, because people don't know how to drive in Baltimore.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that I'm holding the police department accountable. If you're crying that you're underfunded, you're not doing anything.
Right, to show that you
show,
because we have to be evidence based. We have to prove through our
Oh,
notes
my
and
God.
through, you know, other reports and statistics.
You want to call me back?
PRP, therapy, that all this stuff is actually working and doing its job.
yeah,
Why aren't the police doing the same thing?
yeah, we get audited all
I mean,
the time.
I'm sure they have to give reports, but
but
come on.
we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
When you fake the reports.
Right.
GTTF faked it for so many years. Again, they stole from citizens the money that they stole from overtime and things like that. Not what they stole from the drug dealers.
From their pockets.
I'm
right,
talking
but
about
from,
the overtime that
what
they
stole
BS
from our
through.
pockets.
Yeah, it's taxpayers. It's our dollars that they
Yeah.
have taken. How is that being rectified? How do you resolve that issue? You're crying for more money, but hold up, Baltimore City Police Department, you've already robbed us. Why are you being refunded?
Yeah,
I think the citizens of Baltimore City need to be refunded.
And
That's
I wanted to
$614 million. I'm sorry, Sigourney.
No.
But that $614 million that's going to Baltimore City Police Department needs 600 million of it needs to go back to the city. Open up. I'm not saying give Baltimore City citizens money. I'm saying give Baltimore City money in rec centers, camps, the school. Oh my God, why
and
is
so
it?
that's the point I wanted to bring up was because just talking about not so much violence right now, but just Mayor Scott as a whole, to kind of speak to his character, like he wants to keep making everything seem like it's so positive, because that's what that's what you've been saying he's been doing with the crime, like, oh, but everything's reduced and we have more guns, and
and I don't see how that
but
is,
the thing is, even with these grades, this whole grading scandal that's going on in Baltimore City,
he didn't want to talk about that.
12,000 failing grades were changed to passing, impacting an estimated 10% of students. But the thing is, he sits there and says, I mean, what can I say, C4, is that I can see also the amount of progress that's being made. But the thing is, you're not answering the question. Why is it that this has even happened in the first place? And no, it didn't start with him.
Not
it
at
really
all.
Didn't. But I'm sure he heard about this at some point.
When
which
he
is
was
not
in school
today,
at Mervo.
which is not now. But I'm sure at some point, even as city council president, I'm sure you heard about stuff like this that was going on. So don't sit here and what is it that politicians don't seem to understand? Because at one point you were a civilian, even if you were a lawyer or a community activist or whatever, trying to build your way up. At some point, you were on the ground like the rest of us, and you heard about the same crap that we're hearing about. So why is it when you become whatever it is that you aspire to be, whether it's president, city council president, mayor, whatever, that you want to sit there and feed us the same bull crap that other people before you did, that you rolled your eyes at?
Exactly.
Because I'm sure he's rolled his eyes at plenty of people.
Yeah.
Yet here you are talking about everything is so positive. Look at all I don't want to look at the good work. I want to know why kids are still dying in the streets. I want to know why people are still ODing in the streets. I want to know why there's still so many guns out there. I want to know why all these things. Don't tell me that things are getting better. Because the people that are on the ground that live in these neighborhoods, that are seeing their kids getting shot, that are seeing these drug deals go down, they're not agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Things to them are not getting better.
Not at all.
You got people, elderly people getting robbed or getting killed for this, that, and reason. People getting, random innocent people getting shot because, people are just because they're shooting at someone else, some gang-related thing, but they hit somebody else, some little girl or some older guy, so it's, maybe it is getting better, and that's fine. But the thing is, we have to keep talking about how it's not. I mean, not how it's not getting better, but how things are still bad, and we need to improve upon that. But also, I wanted to bring up this because maybe it's something positive, and this is not something I've heard of, so I don't know if you have. But another one of those related articles I clicked on, it says Baltimore banking on effort to reduce violence through intervention. So I was like, all right, Jane Miller, your girl, wrote this. And so I was like, well, let's see what this is about. So this was a few days ago, the 25th. Now, we actually have talked about this before, community violence intervention instead of policing, and that is what Baltimore is trying to do. The 11 News I-Team reveals the growing commitment to intervention and the challenges, including the steep loss of population in communities most burdened by violence. At a recent daily briefing of the Safe Streets team at its Belvedere site in Northwest Baltimore, it was a time to check in on themselves in the neighborhood. So yeah, this is stuff that we've talked about before. I didn't even know there was 10 Safe Street sites in Baltimore.
Hold up. You said this one was on in Belvedere?
It says it's Belvedere site. So somewhere in Northwest Baltimore on Belvedere Avenue, there is a Safe Streets. Maybe it's above that Jamaican restaurant or something. But it says we get a read on the temperature of the community, which I don't necessarily doubt that. Because I do, when I did work alongside, I shouldn't even say it like that. We shared an office. We didn't necessarily work alongside them, but they did very much look like people that,
Were.
came from the streets and understood things.
Okay.
Now, still, does that make you effective? No, but it makes you maybe understand more of what's happening. Like I was just saying, people that live in these neighborhoods, whether they do something about it or not, they know what's going on. Whether they say something or not, whether they do something or not, it's a different story. But they're gonna know what's going on. So it says we get a read on the temperature of the community, find out if there is anything going on in the community, such as a beef, if any of the individuals returned from jail that may be shot callers or key individuals, if there's anything that's going on in the community, period, that could probably escalate to a shooting or a homicide, said Marty, the Belvedere site director for Safe Streets. Again.
Okay. My point is this. If that's the case, if they are so prevalent in his crime plan, if they're making so much progress and things like that, why are our numbers so high?
Yeah.
Right. It's the craziest thing. I know we couldn't have in what we do, I've had to be there in the evenings with our substance abuse counselor, and if one person was coming, they couldn't refer two people that were on the same case. We couldn't schedule them at the same time.
Yeah. We'll be right back. We have to go to break.
Beauty's in the eye. We complicate things when all along it's just perfect as it is. Beauty is from within. It's how you feel, not as how others see you. Skincare shouldn't be complicated. She's the Boss believes skincare should be nurturing, easy to use, smell delicious, feel refreshing, and look incredible. She's the Boss Cosmetics and Skincare brings you our botanical-based skincare line that's gentle, uncomplicated, and extremely effective for men, women, and youth. Feel confident and radiate a power glow that flows from the inside out. Exude an assurance that extends from the home into the conference room. Visit us at www.shes-the-boss.com or call us at 866-494-5945 to get yours today.
She's the Boss Enterprises, in collaboration with Get It In Island Cuisine 2, presents WSTBRN, She's the Boss Radio's second Thursday's networking mixer. Every second Thursday of the month from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., we will be highlighting a business once a month, radio opportunities, advertising, conversations, great food and drinks. So come on out and enjoy $3 rum punches, $5 Tito's vodka, and $7 catfish platters. For more information on this event and others, follow us on all our social media pages. Facebook, we are She's the Boss Radio. Twitter, we are She's the Boss Radio without the O. IG, Twitch, and Tumblr, we are WSTBRN. Or go out to www.she'sthebossradio.com. We make radio first so that your vision will be heard. If you would like to shine a light on your business during Second Thursdays, please email us at info@she'sthebossradio.com using the hashtag in the subject line, shine a light on it.
We don't break the laws. We just make up our own. The internet's best choice for music. She's the boss. Radio Network.
Oh,
All right.
so I wanted to put this out here. So Mayor Brandon Scott has invited Governor Hogan to come in Baltimore City so Brandon can show Hogan what he has done. What I'm going to do is invite Mayor Brandon Scott to have a roundtable conversation with the small business owners of mental health services, psychiatric rehabilitation, any community-based services that we've rendered. Any company that's 10 plus years and can prove their numbers and verifiable references.
I wouldn't even say 10. I mean, as long as they've been doing the work and it shows.
Numbers,
I'll
I'll say 5 years up. As far as numbers are concerned, I would do 5 years up. I want you to have a round table talk. You can reach us, DPR, on She's the Boss Radio. Call us, let us know when you're ready, because again, we've done this before. We've had the round table talk. Nothing came of it. If you want to be a better mayor than the previous mayor or the mayor before that, let's have this
Which
talk.
isn't hard given the last two.
Exactly.
Jack
and I'm
and
always
Pew.
talking about, no, 3 then. Because Jack wasn't.
But he was loud.
No, but I'm saying Jack wasn't elected.
Yeah, he wasn't elected, but he was still mayor. So
Yeah, he was a TBD,
So
to be determined.
just to clear the air. But yes, going all the way back to Blake.
Yeah,
Let's just say it that way.
he was a filler.
Yeah.
But I'm going to invite you to come to a round table talk with the providers, the mental health providers, the substance abuse, the foster care providers, all of this.
I think this guy here,
The guy we were just talking
Freedom
about.
Jones, should be there. He's the director of community violence intervention at LifeBridge. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what he said, and I find this to be interesting, which is it's a good thing. I just didn't know about it, but he said the trauma department and the ER calls us if there are 3 or more shootings. They text the team because when that happens, there is potential for escalation. So you have 3 people who come in with gunshots, so that could escalate on the street to 10 times over. So him and his team, and I guess Lamont maybe is part of this, but at least they're trying to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you see that something may be escalating, call us, blah, blah, blah. Now, hopefully, you're working in a trauma department at an ER.
Yeah,
Your brain's
that's
all
a
over
lot.
the place.
Right.
So hopefully you remember to call these people.
Yeah.
But those are the type of people that we need more of. And
On the ground, ready to move.
And it's at LifeBridge. So, yeah, one of those bigger, companies that you were talking about. But still,
if they
that
have
doesn't mean that they're necessarily getting the same kind
Exactly.
of funding that they should get.
But that's what I'm saying,
But-
though. If you have a group of people that are actually progressing, trying to help, I would definitely bring them in.
Right.
I want everybody that has done good work in Baltimore City.
Yeah.
We can't fix it all on our own.
No.
And being held hostage by third-party billers and whatever in Baltimore City is not stopping us from doing the work.
Right, because we can have a list of stuff. That, there's the funding. There's people on the streets themselves. Like there's a number of people who won't say something if they see something. They know that their son is out there doing this or that, but they're not going to say nothing. I can't get my son locked up. Well, you're the reason why all these people are being killed.
Right.
Not obviously directly the reason, but indirectly
Yeah.
you are very, very, high on that list of people that should be doing something and aren't. But
But that no snitching.
yeah.
That I get it. Because-
I do too.
yeah.
Because again, the retaliation, I get it. Like if they ever found out that it was you, that.
But
that's a scary
again,
thought.
I've said this before, and
These
we need.
anonymous text lines and stuff.
Well, they do have that too, but the way
What's the
police
number?
departments are so corrupt
Yeah.
that text message that goes out, they can link it to who it is and corrupt police
that's
officers
true, too.
or police employees,
Yeah.
Baltimore City Police
It's funny,
Department
I was
employees.
actually thinking about this yesterday, but yeah, that's true because cops aren't even strong enough to be like, I'm a cop. You're nothing but a gangbanger. Who do you think you're trying to intimidate?
That's why the
And- but
GTTF
it
got
goes- right.
were able to do.
or they're feeling too much power. and
Yeah.
then they just-
Well, see, the badge and the
Yeah.
gun gives them that confidence
Right.
they never had in high school.
Or they also try to do like, okay, well, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours
Yeah.
type of thing. But that's not how this is supposed to work. Not in the negative sense. If it's something more positive, then yeah, sure, whatever. I'll write you a recommendation for a job. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I got you. Not, oh yeah, if you do this, I'll help you escape that.
One
like,
hand scratch,
like
man.
we'll get your gang rival or something. That's not how you should be.
But it has
conducting
happened.
business.
We
Yeah,
are sick and
it
tired
has.
of it. We're, and the people that are always caught up in it are citizens, like innocent, non-biased citizens. And I'm sick and tired of it. We
Right.
see it. We've heard the stories over and over and over again. I'm sick and tired of it. It needs to stop. And I've seen it from so many different angles, and I'm just over it.
It'd be nice to talk to this Shantae Jackson too. She's the director of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. She says it really is exactly what it sounds like. It is using our community-based assets, institutional people, medical systems, those folks that have intimate awareness and connectivity to folks who are at most acute risk actually doing the work of intervention?
Well, we need to get her information too. And honestly, that's all I wanted to do was just when we started the business, this is exactly what we did. And as owners, we in the streets. You know, my partner's pregnant 11 o'clock. She was at Perkins, walking through there to go to her client's house to provide mental health counseling. And just because it's considered to be mental health counseling doesn't mean that you have a mental health disorder. It could be any trauma, anything. We all go through
that
stuff.
ends up leading to
Yeah,
disorder,
but again,
yeah.
people just the thought of having to go through counseling, it's a negative
People-
connotation
they
to
just
it.
have to learn to be more accepting of that. The thing is, you don't recognize what you're going through because you're in it every day.
Right.
You think what you're going through is normal.
It's normal. It's
not.
every day.
It's not. You getting angry at a drop of a hat is not normal. You not knowing how to cope with anxiety and it debilitating your life is not normal. Like, these things are not normal, and people need to be able to recognize that so they can get the help that they need.
I agree.
But it's hard, and I get it to a certain extent when you live a certain lifestyle, or even if you aren't doing necessarily the bad stuff, but you got this uncle that keeps coming around and he's always dealing drugs and dealing with bad people, or whatever stuff like that. It's hard as a teenager to get
Yeah.
away from that.
Yeah.
But then you wonder why is my kid never home? They don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do. Sometimes they end up being around that, and then they spend the next 20, 30 years until they're in jail or shot
Right.
doing everything wrong. So
We're trying to
it's
break
tough.
the cycle. That's
Yeah.
basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to break the
And-
cycle. Mom has gone through depression. Dad has
Yeah.
been,
It's okay to feel those things. You are
Yeah.
not the only one.
Those
There are
are-
millions of people who experience depression, anxiety, who have PTSD, and it's for any number of reasons. Whether you were in the military, whether you were beaten as a child, like, you can have anxiety and PTSD
Trauma is
and
trauma.
depression from anything. And it's just a matter of getting help and learning to deal, because some things are going to stick with you. Some people are better able to get over things than others. But it's always a good idea to be able to talk those things out, and you can't always talk to your friends sometimes, especially when they're not trained to be able to help you
and
with
they have
this.
their own trauma.
Like, girl, just smoke some weed and be quiet. That's not gonna
Yeah.
help. Like,
Have a glass of wine. Have another one. Have
that is
another
not
one.
gonna help. That might help you for the the next
The short
whatever,
term.
2 hours while
Yeah.
you're dazed out. But
Yeah, it numbs the
But-
pain, but at the end of the day, you have
You're
to
just
look at yourself in the
self-medicating.
mirror.
Yeah.
You have to live your life. So you find that to be a calming sensation and you continue doing it. It's not going to take away
Right.
that stress and that
It's not a good
anxiety.
coping
It's
skill.
not. I mean,
Yeah.
it's temporary fix. It's like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, exactly. And so this 10 million that the mayor has recently given in this American Rescue Plan funding thing to expand community-based services and get more hospitals on board, with the hospital spots. And I do think that hospitals, because they're the ones that receive these gunshot or stab victims, I do think in whatever ways they need to be involved. But it also says here the goal is to connect hospital systems, community organizations, and Safe Streets. Which Safe Streets is a community organization, but whatever. But yeah, so community organizations, that's the two key words right there for me that I need to know. Who are you involving?
Okay, can I
Yeah.
say something?
You
Out
have
of the
3 minutes.
$614 million to the police department, you're giving $10 million.
I don't know. This is from the federal rescue plan.
Okay.
So 10 million is coming from that. I don't know where the 614 million is coming from.
It's coming from the
And that's an even
500.
bigger number than I last heard. I thought it was 500 million that or that was Hogan that was given 500 million to whatever.
So this is my issue
haven't
with that
seen.
is that if you're giving that money to the hospitals, I want to know what hospitals or what resources the hospitals are utilizing. If you're sending your clients to the same places that you've been sending them to, and they keep coming back to you, there's more issues, nothing is being resolved. They need to expand on their resources. Baltimore County crisis response, they have a tendency to send clients to the same places. They don't check
Yeah.
to see
What's new? out
what's new, and if they do, they reach out to some people, and if it's like, oh yeah, somebody called your name, how y'all doing? The company doesn't exist anymore. It's a whole different
And
it
this-
kills me because how many times I've had these meetings with certain people about resources. If our name is on your resource list, but you keep going to the top two that you have, like number one, number two, not a rating, but the way they're written in alphabetical order, you keep going to these two people, that doesn't help the other 20 people that are on the list. Because the person in
funding, man. This is from Hogan. This stuff that he's
anyway. I'm telling you, Hogan is out of touch. I have totally disowned him. And I was very impressed with him
in the beginning.
He
wants to put $6.5 million to the Baltimore Police Department to enhance its warrant apprehension task force. Because he wants more arrests.
But see, that's the thing, though. Arrest doesn't,
especially for repeat of violent offenders. Which violent, I kind of get, but now you're looking. Now you're just looking.
Yeah.
Now you're just searching for anybody who's doing something. Now you just want to lock them up, just so you can justify giving all this money to the police department.
Yeah, exactly. And this is how the corruption starts.
Because he's blaming a lack of arrests and prosecution and jail sentences that don't match the violent offense.
Okay, this is my thing. The reason why Marilyn Mosby, for some reason I cannot say her first name right, Mosby wasn't prosecuting these cases because the cases, as far as evidence is concerned, search and seizure, the warrants, all of that wasn't right. So I remember 300 people were arrested at some point. I can't remember when it was exactly. But it was a period in time that the police department it was in August, I want to say 2010. But they were doing 5 o'clock in the morning, banging through doors, arresting people. Nothing happened. These cases were not prosecuted.
Yeah. And on that note, we gave you all a lot of information. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it will spur you to do something in the city positively. But thank you for listening to She's the Boss Radio. Again, it is 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can find She's the Boss Radio on Facebook, She's the Boss Radio on Twitter, WSTBRN on IG, and WSTBR on Twitch and Tumblr. You can also listen on TuneIn.com or Shoutcast, or tell Alexa or Siri to play She's the Boss Radio. You can find Deplorable Rhetoric on Facebook, Deplorable_Rhetoric on Instagram, and We Rant to Rave, the number 2 on Twitter. Talk at y'all, with y'all, whatever with y'all next Tuesday.
We don't break the laws. We just make up our own. The internet's best choice for music. She's the boss.